This is Blenderstyle, the show where we discuss a blend of heavy and extreme music. In this episode, Sabaton, Carolus Rex. So this album was released in 2012 on Nuclear Blast Records. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers, guys.
Blenderstyle.
Rex that involved Carolus.
I'm not, this was my pick, I'm not super familiar with Sabaton, or I wasn't. But I've heard a lot of buzz about this band, like in the meme culture. There's a lot of army tank memes and stuff like this.
G.I. Joe jokes.
G.I. Joe jokes, because these guys look like G.I. Joe characters.
Hold on, is it G.I. Joe jokes or is it just G.I. jokes?
It's G.I. jokes.
Okay.
G.I. Yokes?
Yokes.
Oh.
So I googled their best album, and it came up with Carolus Rex. So I was like, all right, let's try this one.
All right.
I wasn't super familiar with it at all, and I thought it'd be a good one to check out.
It actually went quadruple platinum.
Did it really?
It did.
Yes. And also, this is the first, almost everyone in the band quit.
After this.
No, before this.
So
Was
I want
it
to
before or was it after?
I wanna touch on
it
your-
was done.
I want to touch on your quadruple platinum because it went gold in Poland and quadruple platinum in Sweden, not quadruple platinum in the United States because we don't know
Oh,
music.
yeah, obviously.
We sure as fuck don't know music.
No.
So this was produced by Peter Tagbergten.
Yeah, so this guy played in Hypocrisy.
Yes, and Pain,
And Pain, which is like a newer band that's kind of...
which is
We've been sharing this song from Pain, and it's like a hard rock song, and I'm like, this isn't Hypocrisy. This isn't Peter. I'm gonna give him whatever the guy's name is, and I can't stop listening to this song. It's like earworming into my head.
He's actually been pretty active for the last few years. I mean,
think
he's
as a
worked
producer
with,
more than in this band
the
Hypocrisy.
lead singer of Rammstein and stuff. He's been doing albums with him, and they're pretty good as well.
His solo, the Rammstein guy's solo stuff.
Yeah.
So to touch on what Nate said, this was the last album to feature both of their guitarists, their drummer, and their keyboard player. The bass player and the singer are the only ones who remained.
Oh, so they all
They were
dropped
all that remained. So also, the Hammer of Metal magazine rated this as the 20th best power metal album of all time.
So this is power metal, war history power metal.
Oh, for sure. You're learning something while listening.
This is a history lesson, like you said, of the Swedish Empire.
So I went to look up lyrics, and there's like history on their website.
So good.
Well, it's a concept album. It's the concept album about the rise and fall of the Swedish Empire.
So most power metal has like soaring, dynamic vocals, very impressive vocals. Sabaton does not do that.
So I want to touch on the whole rise and fall of the Swedish Empire because the Swedish Empire was the only Scandinavian country to ever reach a superpower status.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. It is.
Oh.
So their reach was actually profound for the time.
I think Superpower might be a Judas Priest album title. So one of the things that really stands out for Sabaton is the vocals. So most power metals bands have crazy technical vocals, really high pitched singing, beautiful vocals mixed with all kinds of. This guy's mid range the whole time.
Oh yeah, and he does a great job of it too.
It's in the pocket. It fucking works, bro.
It's so good, and his voice is commanding too, which not only being mid range the whole time, but it's a mid range commanding, almost like the album, like Nate said, is a concept for the rise and fall of the Swedish Empire, but 90% of this album touches on the military prowess of the Swedish Empire. And this dude's voice through the whole thing is a military commander marching his troops into battle.
Well said. Commanding is perfectly said.
It's so good.
This is something you're definitely listening to before going into battle.
Oh yeah.
So it sounds like it's very theatric and like anthem, like it has an anthem sound to it.
Yes.
Like if you go to a Sabaton concert, everyone's singing along. That's what this sounds like.
Yeah, and I've seen some live videos, and everybody is singing along. So you nailed it.
It's some arena metal stuff.
Arena, exactly. It sounds like the production value. It makes it sound like you're in an arena.
It's huge.
Like I can't imagine these guys playing a bar. It wouldn't sound.
Oh fuck
no. This is one of those bands that you need that big soundstage and
1,000 amps,
yeah,
1,000
they have
speakers.
to
Yeah,
sound huge, and they do a good job sounding huge. There's a lot of bands who do, when they sound big, they don't sound great.
these guys sound live and big,
Yes,
and it's hard thing to capture, but they do it really well.
They do it
It's
very
a
well.
Man of War
Yes.
type feel, like where like you know that what you're gonna get when you get it live.
Yes,
You know what I mean? It's definitely. But you touched bases on the vocals, and I know that he's mid range. But what I love about this album, which is an album that they've done, you know, was the most they've done on it, was like the choir and stuff
Mhm.
that went along with it.
they
Like
do some
even
great
like the
choir
main
parts on this.
choir parts that were going on with it, they mix very well with his range of vocals. I think it's very operatic, very ballady.
Operatic's a good way to put it. It's like music theater, right? In the beginning, it's about a Swedish 1600s whatever war conflict, and some woman comes out and she's belting out these like high notes and whatever, and then the general comes out, and that band comes out with him, and they start singing about like the war. That's Sabaton. That's what this sounds like.
Yes. Yeah, and they do a good job of using, like Nate was saying, the operatic backing on the pivotal points of the chorus and the songs. They use this really cool. They have this tendency to use like the really crunchy guitar and like
beefy
almost,
guitars.
yeah, almost gets
Beefy.
larger than life for these pivotal like backup vocals, and it's an excellent use of backup vocals and background guitar and synthesization.
Like it sounds like tons of people are singing with it.
It's crazy. It's
almost like it kind of tugs on your soul like church music does.
Yeah, almost.
I honestly, like in my notes, I'm like, at first what was a bad thing but turned into a good thing was churchy. It reminded me of church,
right?
you know? But then I got a nostalgia
like you're
thing.
almost compelled to like sing along with it. And you're like, I don't want to sing along with it. It's making me feel icky in my soul.
Yeah, I don't want to raise my
exposing to-
hands.
But I'm raising my hands.
Jazz hands.
So what do you guys like about this?
I love the beefy guitars. I love the very, like, it honestly reminded me of also of Queen at some points, but like very like beefy, very,
Yeah,
you know,
almost
like that
larger
big
than
sound.
life.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
and,
that big sound.
Yeah.
and there's definitely a story going on within
There's
this
totally
album.
a story.
So I love that the concept of the vocals, I mean the lyrics and stuff, actually mix very well musically. And so what I kind of didn't like, what I've noted down right away was kind of like the churchy feel, and that kind of was a turnoff. But then when I listened to it again and again, it was very
Like it was
nostalgic.
trying to touch your soul, and you're like, I don't like that right away. But then you kind of get used to it, and you're like, this
Well,
is
yeah, it
beautiful.
reminded me of church, and church isn't all that fun.
That's bizarre. We didn't talk about this. We haven't been to church together. I'm not a churchgoer. You went to church more than me. But
Yeah, definitely growing up,
I dabbled a little bit, right, as a youngster.
Mhm.
And it's weird that we came to the same conclusion that it has that churchy feel, which is
I
like
mean, the choirs, the men choirs,
but it's not like, it's not church music, like in that sense that it sounds like, shitty church music, the reason I stopped going to church. But it was more like, it tugs on your soul the same way.
honestly, I would have to agree with you. I think, honestly, one of the coolest things and the most beautiful things, this might sound a little stupid, but is a men's voice, like within a choir and stuff. I think it's very epic. There's something humble about it. There's something primitive.
And that's the thing about this.
Primitive about it, you know.
That's the thing about this is it's not like beautiful in the way that like when we're saying church music, right? A lot of people think of angelic stuff like this. This is like struggle.
This is commanding.
It's commanding. This guy has like commanded his army into,
Yes.
he's
Like, you die for me.
it's beautifully done when they in the song A Lifetime Award. This one really hit me at an emotional part
Okay.
of my life, which is kind of funny to talk about. They talk about has man gone insane, and these guys are like students of war. Like this guy has clearly done his homework. He understands war.
Well, I don't necessarily know that they understand war, but they understand the history of Sweden, the country they're from.
But
These are equivalent to those
folk-
Civil War junkies in the United States who go in and do these Civil War reenactments, and they could tell you every fucking thing about it.
but there's
So it's about war.
But
It
there's
is
a,
about war.
there's a takeaway, right? When you do this over and over again, that like these guys have done, you're like, it's all war.
Oh, it is all war. But
And A Lifetime of War, that's what that song's about. He talks about you know, like, is there no fucking end to this?
No.
And it's fucking emotional, bro. Like, it really fucked me up when I heard this. I was like, and I keep going back to it over and over again, that song, A Lifetime of War. And it's just, it's heart-wrenching because he's like pouring himself out. Like, is there nothing else we can do?
Well, the chorus is also very epic. It's a lifetime of war.
Yeah.
You know, it's very epic. It's proud, but it's also sad at the same time. And what I love also about this, the end of this song, A Lifetime of War, is, dude, you go into this awesome, epic guitar solo.
That guitar solo is so good.
Probably the best guitar solo on the album, in my opinion. And then after that solo, you know, you have the violin that comes in on it, dude. It's just very...
And he's not...
It fits the lyrical content.
And I love that, like, from a power metal perspective, he's not, like, slaughtering it with insanely technical vocals.
Yeah.
He's not even that great, but it just works so fucking good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's super refreshing.
So would you say that the highlight for this record is the vocals?
As weird as it sounds, because this is like the least vocally technical band in power metal, 1000% yes. It's the vocals.
And I would agree, except for I would add to the fact that not necessarily the lead singer's vocals, but the use of backup vocals is what makes this thing.
That choir just...
The choir,
the layering of vocals.
The layering and the accents, and I mean, just, he knows exactly where to put those, like, bam, those
the big parts.
Exclamation points, and just like really drive home the fact of what he's singing about. This album made me feel smarter.
So really, you're learning history.
Really did, because I'm not a history fan, but this album made me start researching not only the history of the Swedish Empire, but also he uses a lot of Swedish phrases in this. Mm-hmm. Even for the English version, there's a lot of Swedish phrases in it that you go in and you research, and then now all of a sudden you're singing along with it, and it's like you watch YouTube videos of people who are like, "Oh, I learned English by watching movies." I was like, "How the hell did you ever do that?" Because I could watch all the German movies I want, I'm never going to get any hint of German. Mm-hmm. This made me learn phrases in Swedish that I was
fascinating,
not aware of.
Because there's a Swedish and English version of this album.
Yes, exactly.
Did any of you guys listen to the Swedish version?
I listened to the Swedish one first.
Oh, really?
And it was really good. And then I listened to the English one, and it works.
Because Opeth has also done something that is similar to this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the last album they came out with, he did, I think it's Swedish. Wow. Dude, we got to do a Swedish episode.
Okay, can I touch on the whole Swedish version of this? So you listened to the Swedish version?
Yeah.
Did you listen to it, Nate?
I listened to it a couple
times,
but I listened to it. Yeah.
Did the
it
lyrical,
sounds the same.
Yeah. Did the lyrical structure line up?
It was bizarrely similar.
Okay, because that was one thing that I was thinking the whole time. Listen, does he write in English?
Like you hear German?
Or does he use English words to try and fit with the Swedish terms?
I don't know if the translations are close. It sounds very like...
Yeah, and see, I'm not versed enough in Swedish to know.
Because if you listen to the English side of things, there's also like words that seem a little like maybe missing or like...
But you've heard like Rammstein songs that are in German and then they do English versions and it
like
sounds weird. This all sounds cohesive.
It does. And so that's what I was wondering. Does the Swedish version match up lyrically?
So I listened to the Swedish version thinking it would sound like
way
better,
different.
Like more like that's how they wrote it.
Yeah.
And then I go to the English version. It doesn't sound different, really.
Okay.
It's just I can understand all the words.
So, question here, real quick, because it went quadruple platinum, right?
In Sweden.
So, do you think that maybe being two versions helped it go to platinum?
Yes.
Even though it was platinum in Sweden.
Absolutely.
I don't know, because the only place it went quadruple platinum was in Sweden.
I know, but
I'm sure it helped.
Yeah,
it did.
It's like honestly, like when I went out to like Austria,
I love that I had the option.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Yeah,
right, because we're like deep metalheads. We go into weird shit. We're not opposed to listening to foreign language stuff at all.
100%.
But I like that I had the option.
I listened to Maximum the Hormone. They're all in Japanese.
So good, great band.
Yeah, jumping everywhere type of band.
Okay, so we're raving about this album, but it's not perfect. It kind of gets a little repetitive for me. Like it's gets old a little bit. Like I love it, but it's power metal, and it's not my favorite genre.
I would say that the negative for me would have to be the church aspect of it. I think at some
Ironically.
points, I think at some points I love it, but also at the same time it's a little too much. And also the cover at the very end kind of just ruins it for me.
I didn't like the cover at all.
In the Army
Yeah.
Now, like
It seems to contradict the other
it
message.
just didn't fit.
It's like war sucks. You know, we're talking about war, and it's like
You're in the Army
we're
now.
insane, and it's like join the army.
So-
Uncle Sam wants you in the army.
So I would say that my negatives about this were, the Army cover, then what is it?
In the Army.
In the Army Now, I could have done without it. But also, ironically, as much as I like the fact that they're a Swedish band covering these Swedish things, I didn't like the use of all the Swedish language phrases and stuff. Mostly because this album was so interesting and so engulfing, like it really brought you in, that I think the Swedish phrases, for me at least, slowed it down to where I'm pausing the music to look up what that means.
Really?
So I guess I didn't catch it. So there's parts in the English version where they're still using Swedish.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them.
Oh.
So,
Maybe that's why it seems so cohesive to me.
Gottman und. Awesome fucking song, but I had to pause it because I was like, what the fuck does that even
Yeah,
mean?
that's true. Okay.
So I was like, so it kind of,
But you're a lyrical guy.
I am a lyrical
You're
guy,
like,
and that's
hey,
my
what
thing.
the? I'm like,
So I'm reading
just
along
just
with
went by and I'm like,
halfway,
eh.
So I'm reading along with it, and I'm like, oh, okay, hold on. I got it. Because they reiterate it so many times. Like, if it was just a one-time passing thing in the song, but it was part of the chorus, it was like the main theme of the song, and you go to research it, and it kind of breaks the thing. I mean, after I read it, yeah, it was great, the song, because I knew what it meant. It was fucking awesome. But
I think that's
so
fine.
so are you like picking for like something that?
I am so grasping for shit, because honestly, this album...
You're like, this album
Oh,
gave
yeah.
us an English and Swedish version, and the English version had some Swedish in it. God damn it.
No, it wasn't even that the English version had some Swedish. It was that the English version had some Swedish to where the point where it ruined the...
It broke it up.
It broke it.
It broke
It
it
broke
up
it to where I had to
You
pause
got a
it.
fucking English version. Be happy.
But there's Swedish in it, so it's not English.
Dude.
So now I have to fucking Google Translate what Gott meant uns means, and it means God with us, and it makes fucking perfect sense, and it sounds exactly the same, which makes me think back to what we were talking about earlier with is the Swedish version much different from like where the vocal...
So you're
vocal
saying they
patterns-
could have just done it in English?
They could have just done it in Swedish. And it would have been just as good. But I am grasping because this album to me was fucking amazing and almost perfect.
Some of it's
Damn, okay.
sing-songy, like sounds like pirate music in some parts, and
Oh,
you're
for
just like
sure.
you're
Fuck.
saying,
Now you just ruined it because now that's all I'm going to think about when I listen to this.
yeah, it sounds
I
like
mean, how did you not like?
it's
at
like
one point-
swashbuckling in some
Yeah.
parts, yeah.
Like, dude, people are rowing during this.
We need to get a Blenderstyle yacht and just
like
totally
with,
go to
with
seven
fucking
seas.
guitars. They're just like rowing with guitars on a little fish boat.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Out
This
the Kern
but-
River.
trying to.
Buena Vista Lake.
Oh god.
I give this a 4.4. Absolutely killer album. I understand why people love Sabaton now. I didn't get it before, but I totally get it. 4.4.
Okay, so I gave this a 3.8. It probably would have been higher, but like I said, just the fact that I couldn't listen to it all the way through because of my anal retentiveness about having to know what the fuck they're saying, because had I listened to it and not read the lyrics, I would have been fine. But the fact that I dug deep into the lyrics, I had to pause and research what some of the phrases were, and it kind of ruined the interaction for me.
Kind of exhausting to go through.
Not really exhausting the first time around.
Like,
Now
I
that
gotta do
know-
homework to listen to this?
Yeah, exactly. Now that I'm done with it and I understand it, I would probably go back and listen to it and give it a higher rating. But I think just, for the time that we had with it and the having to research what the lyrical content meant, because I'm such a lyrics person, kind of ruined it for me. It didn't really ruin it for me, but it just slowed it down for me. I'll put it that way.
So that was a big hindering thing on your actual.
It was. And it's only because it
That's
was...
weird, because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Well, it's only
that
because it was
definitely-
such a fucking good album that I'm just like, I need to know
I
what
listen
they're
to
talking
German
about.
death metal, or black metal, and I'm like, I don't even know what language this is.
Yeah, see, I couldn't do that just because of that. I would have to know what they're saying.
It's good to know.
Okay, for me, originally it was like a 3.5. But then after I had listened to it with my bros here, I would have to definitely say it's a 3.8. It goes up a little bit more. I think the vocals are great. I think the lyrics are great. I love the beefy guitars, and the drums are spot on. I also like the little touches of like the violin and stuff. I think it's a pretty epic album, and I would definitely listen to it again. So I give it a 3.8.
This is Blenderstyle. That was Carolus Rex.
Blend your face off.